And we are recording. And
Nice.
the drugs hit. Whoa, man. Whoa. What's going on, man? How you doing over there?
I don't really have a whole lot to contribute today because I'm a good kid.
Oh,
Man.
well.
40.
He sounds like a fucking loser.
I mean, one could argue that, and one could argue that I made a promise myself at church camp that I would never engage in butt sex.
Is that?
Ooh, I'm a liar.
I mean, to be fair, you guys, if you don't know Simo back then, back during his youth, he was a good kid. He meant well. He just hung
I
out at
was a
home
virgin in college.
with his Christina Aguilera posters.
Yep, and an NSYNC poster behind my clothes in the closet. I'll go like this. I'll go, hey guys.
It's me. It's me, you guys.
It's me.
So,
Just want to say hi.
Give him a break, you guys. He does mean well. It's just,
Yeah.
And actually, there's this is what I was looking for. If you think, it's just like, how can this dude not have any experience with this growing up? It's like, this was him.
Yeah. Not only do I have braces, but I have rubber bands too.
Hey guys, you know where the party's at?
Hey guys.
So,
Waka waka. Hey guys, can I do your homework for you?
Yeah. We're gonna do this in 3, 2, 1. What are you doing?
Testes in my mouth.
Get on the ground, you fucking pledge!
Ew.
Welcome to the greatest podcast experience of your life. This is the Frat Chat Podcast.
All young men like 3 things. Food, booze, pussy.
Featuring Carlos Garcia and Chris Moore.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the greatest podcast in the history of podcasting time. It's the Frat Chat Podcast. I'm Carlos Garcia with Chris Seymour Moore. How's it going, Mr. Moore?
Drunk. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm good. Actually, I didn't drink yesterday or today. That's a record. 2 days so far.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I got smashed with you guys on Friday. How are you? Are you recovered?
No, man, I'm hurting still. Day 2, hangover. I mean, but also I was up till I was telling you off air, I was up till 8 in the morning, which never is anything I do anymore. I'm not cool anymore, you guys. I am 35 years old. So literally all day yesterday, all I could muster was eat, pizza, sleep, and like watch TV. And today I have some rehearsals and stuff, but other than that, it's looking like a very similar day. So
your Saturday sounds like a perfect day. Eat, sleep, pizza, Netflix,
and repeat.
Yeah.
It was pretty nice. It's pretty nice,
What did that guy say on stage the other night? He said, "Is it Netflix and chill, or is it streaming cream?" I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, who
said that the other night?
That was Barack.
Barack said that.
Man,
that was such a funny one-liner. I had a great time at the show.
Comedy, you guys.
He really is like a star athlete. Like he came at a moment's notice, and the photography for your show. I mean, he also had a phenomenal set. I mean, he's always funny, but he really I didn't want to be honest. I didn't want to go after him because he was so funny.
Yeah, he was kicking ass and taking names, you guys. And that's the only thing that you can do at the greatest comedy show of all time, you guys. Simo alluded to it. It was awesome. It was epic. It was wild. There's a reason why I had to be epically up till 8 in the morning after such a show, because it was the greatest comedy show of all time, guys. It happened. We came. We rocked. The fucking crowd was so awesome. If you're listening to this and you were in that audience on Friday, thank you so freaking much. That was one of the most supporting crowds I have ever seen. They were there to laugh, have a good time, and it rubbed off on the comics, and that's the kind of the good way of rubbing off on the comics you want, not like the bad way, like Simo's uncle that doesn't come to shows anymore. Yes,
Well,
you want to be like this crowd.
50 feet of me.
Yeah, exactly.
Or playgrounds.
Not at all. That restraining order is still in effect, Uncle Rufus, so stay away. But if you were in the audience on Friday, don't you stay away. Keep coming back. Get tickets to the next one. We'll be back May 19th, 7:15 p.m. That's a Friday again at Broadway Comedy Club. And use promo code RETURN to save 50%. 50. Use it, dude. Save some money. Come see the greatest comedy show of all time.
There was these girls in the front row that were like super successful. I think they were like all moms, and they were some fearless, tough bitches. You know what I mean? And they were sitting in the front row. They didn't give a care in the world. A lot of times, the front row is the last few seats to be taken. Because everyone's scared.
It'll be totally empty. You'll have a full room everywhere else, except the front row. So then people take pictures, and it looks like you're performing in front of an empty fucking room. But it's because the second row is now the front row, which is so annoying. It's the worst. But it's like, I hate when they leave that front door open and then the second row just becomes the front row. Because it's like, dude, I can still see you, right? Like you're right there. You're maybe like 6 inches behind where you would have been if you stood at the front. And now I know you're awkward, so now I definitely want to talk to you.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just me.
True story. It was
but the worst is sitting in a... No, go on.
I was going to say I had a little bit of like a college reunion because you didn't know when you booked her, but Sophia, who was, I guess she's in the middle. Sophia Zolan, she performed in our show on Friday, and that was the first time I saw her in like 15 years because we did theater together at Taos University. She graduated from our alma mater. Pretty cool, right?
Very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah.
Small world.
Reunion. Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Dude.
So now we have some more notable alumni, Towson. It's not just the Stacy Keebler and the Dirty Jobs guy. Now we got 3 more.
Wait, Dirty Jobs guy? Who's that?
Yeah, he went to Towson. I remember that show Dirty Jobs on Discovery Channel. This dude. Oh man, he was hilarious. Well, he wasn't like he was just a very likable guy, but he would basically do like he'll be a janitor for a day, or he'll be like a pipe cleaner for a day. All these like dirty jobs that people don't really know about.
That's pretty cool. I think we should do that. Who's the other girl you said? You said it was Kimmy Gibbler? Well, what was the name?
No, Stacy Keebler. Kimmy Gibbler. Fuck out of here.
Wait, who's Stacy Keebler? Why does that sound familiar?
Well, if you don't live under a rock, you know that she is one of the hottest women to ever walk the face of the earth. She was a Baltimore Ravens cheerleader who then transitioned into the world of pro wrestling to become one of the greatest managers of all time. And she just went in the WWE Hall of Fame like 2 weeks ago.
Boring.
And she's still a babe.
Let's be honest.
I think she dated George Clooney, actually.
She did?
As well, in her peak fame. She was in Dancing with the Stars and did quite well. She had these
if you're in Dancing with the Stars, that's not really a good thing. That means that your career is struggling. You are driving the struggle bus straight to Bitchtown, and I wouldn't brag about that. Now, being in a Hall of Fame is cool too. Unless it also kind of concludes your career.
Yeah, unless Simo feels this way about Dancing with the Stars. Unless Dancing with the Stars, if you're casting, Simo is totally here and available. Hit him up at chris.moore.comedy.
Let me fall back
He
on
totally takes it back if you're casting.
To me,
If you're not, then
Dancing
fuck
with
you. He hates your show.
Dancing with the Stars to me is the same caliber as like Bravo Housewives celebrity-ness. Do you know what I mean? So like I feel like if you're cast on Big Brother or Celebrity Apprentice or Dance with the Stars, they're all D-list celebrities. Sorry, Clay Aiken.
That's fair. That's fair.
Sorry.
I feel like Dancing with the Stars. I feel like Dancing with the Stars should really just up their budget and got themselves like, like the Brad Pitts or like the Robert De Niro's or something like that. Like that, man, that would have been cool. Christopher Walken. I have won the stock hop. He's great.
You know, there's that show called Masked Singer. Surprisingly, has some really big celebrities on there.
Like the one and only Rudy Giuliani.
Oh, he was on there, wasn't he?
He was on that show right after January 6th, too. And what is his name? Ken Jeong, I think is his name.
Yeah, he
the
walked
guy
off.
from the Hangover movies, the Asian guy. He walked off. He was so mad. Of course, Fox would put on Rudy Giuliani.
But they had
oh shit.
Oh, what's her name? Sings the Midnight Train to Georgia. Midnight Train.
Yeah,
Gladys Knight.
My
I
brain
was like,
is
you have
not.
Gladys Knight on
Yes.
there? She's like an icon, you know. Such an icon that I couldn't remember her name.
That's true. Yeah.
Waka waka. Listeners, if by chance you're watching this on YouTube, I just want to apologize. I just came straight from the gym. I'm sweaty. I didn't shower or like put any mascara on. I'm sorry. That's all I can just say is I'm sorry. Because I'm getting swole.
He looks like Mrs. Doubtfire when Robin Williams forgot the mask, so he just dips his face into the pie and it's gonna start dripping and shit.
Hello.
So it happens when you get Botox. Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot
By the
of
way, I
that
just
scene was
found
improvised.
before we. Yeah, it was. It was. The stuff wasn't supposed to be falling off and stuff, so he just fucking winged that because he was a genius. But that's why he's our guy. By the way, I found this sheet of popping paper right before we started recording. Oh yeah, this thing is so addicting. They had like the little nipples, and you just This is an ASMR podcast now, you guys.
It's funny you call them little nipples.
so
I call it zit paper. It's like popping a zit.
Zit paper. Yeah, that's true. But there's no fluid in there, so I feel like they're just like little nips. Like, hey there.
Oh, nice. Nibble on it. Squeeze it. Twist it.
Okay, I'm going to stop now.
Remember that game as a kid? It's called Bop It. It's like twist it, pull it, suck it, slap it, you know.
That's how I learned how to masturbate. Thanks, Bop It.
That in Sunday school.
That's how I had those swollen testicles. Bop it. Ah.
Yeah. That's why
That's why my penis looks like that.
Oh,
twist it. Ah.
You know what? I don't like people to touch my balls ever. There's no reason.
Nah,
some people like their balls sucked. I could, never ever. I would be like squirming. Ugh.
Yeah, I had this girl. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty talented. This is pretty graphic stuff, by the way. So if you have children in the car, maybe turn it down or turn it up. Depends what kind of parent you are. Yeah, she was able to deep throat me and lick the balls at the same time. And I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty talented. I was like, wow, goddamn, look at you. But it was still like, feels weird. My balls don't need that kind of attention. They're like to be silent partners in this deal. You know what I mean? It's like they're just like the producers of the film. They don't want to be in it. You know what I mean? They don't want to be For the camera. They don't want any action, any attention.
It's a fun party trick, I guess. We had
Yeah,
this
no, pretty cool.
stripper that
Pretty cool
would
stuff.
lay down the rushies because we would have a stripper come to like the rush parties back in the day. This is before you.
Yeah.
And
This is
uh
before me. We didn't have a fucking stripper.
yeah, and then they would
We just had
have the
Simo show me his naked pictures in my living room.
yeah,
You want to see
sounds
my
about right.
modeling shots?
I was so proud. But you have to understand that picture you showed earlier, that is what I looked like my whole life. Up until that point where someone was like, you know what, you can make money off your looks. And I'm like, these looks? You know, it's like, what?
It's like, really? Is a horror film casting?
You know? So I was really excited to finally be wanted for once in my life. But anyway, wait, why did I bring that up? What was I talking about? Doesn't matter.
Your sad, sad life.
It doesn't matter. The stripper. Yes. She would lay down the rushies on their back, and they would put a lifesaver on their nose, and she would squat down and pick it up with her vagina, with her pussy lips. Just
Wait, there was like, now was she grab them, or was there her vagina have powerful suction function there that you're...
You know what? I've actually thought about this a lot. I think what it is that she probably took the pledge's nose, and with the lifesaver on top, I think she firmly inserted that pledge's nose into her vaggie. At which point, when they pulled out their nose, it left the lifesaver in her cha-cha.
So it wasn't like a,
I don't think so. Maybe. There's a whole mystery of female genitalia that just amazes me.
Or maybe you guys got yourself a
terrifies
pregnant
me.
stripper. Maybe it was a pregnant stripper. It was just a little baby hand. Like, gotcha.
Maybe. Maybe.
The baby just wanted some candy. Ooh, thank you. A piece of candy.
Or maybe, I mean, this was like a long time ago. It could have even been like Osama bin Laden hiding out in there.
Yeah, that's where he was. That's
where
what
he
took years to
was. He was
find
in
him.
a stripper's vagina the whole time.
The whole time.
Yeah.
He was watching Saddam Hussein get captured in Iraq. It's like, this is not how they're going to get me, buddy.
Yeah. You ever seen a kangaroo jump into a pouch?
Yes, that's it.
That was the inspiration for Osama bin Laden.
That's what he looked like. And then he would come out for air once a day, like in Ace Ventura 2, when he pumps out of the rhino ass. Like,
he would pop his head out, spit out a whole bunch of lifesavers, and then go back in.
Come back in. That's why his teeth were awful.
Oh,
he lived on
Osama.
lifesavers.
What a piece of shit.
Osama.
Am I right? Yikes.
Yeah. Yes. You are correct, my friend. Well, I think this is as good a time as any.
Speaking of bad
into our
decisions.
topic. Yeah, speaking of bad decisions, I'm going to make one that is a good decision and a legal one, because I live in sweet, sweet New Jersey. Normally I would do this before the show, but given the topic, it's I'm going to take a little hit and get us in the mood.
Oh, I have some edibles. I'll be right back.
Ooh, that sounds good. And
okay, so this is a brand called Kikoko.
Ooh, Kikoko.
But you know what?
Is it coconut?
It's Kikoko, but if you take the vowels away, it's KKK. So maybe this is a cover up. I don't know. But they're called sleep mints. There's also one called calm mints. And it's got 3 milligrams of CBN. It's not CBD, it's CBN, which I think helps you like sleep more or like relax more. Is that right? And then it's got 2 milligrams of THC per serving, and you're only supposed to do 1 before you go to bed. But I chew on a handful of them because
oh God, you chew on them? You're that guy?
Yeah, I do.
Like
but they're really hard to open.
like in movies, I feel like there's always like when people take pills for some reason they have like the whole container of pills which no one ever and they just like
Mm-hmm.
and start
Mm-hmm.
cranking on them. Is that how you do it? Like the movie way? They just based it on you?
Pretty
It's your
much.
real life.
Now I'm gonna be in LA next week. I'm getting shipped out to LA for a week. And while I'm out there, I'm gonna bring with me a lot of souvenirs. And by souvenirs, I mean drugs.
You hear that,
I got
TSA?
caught one time by TSA with drugs. Not like it wasn't that bad. I just played really dumb because they found a whole. I brought with me some flour from LA, and TSA caught me and they're like, "You can't take this," and I was like, "Oh, but it's legal here." They're like, "Yeah," I was like, "And it's legal in New York," and they're like, "Okay, but you can't travel with it. You can't go
Nah,
across
you can't fly
all
over it.
these states that where it's not legal."
Mhm.
It's not
Yeah,
federally legal, so then we can't allow you to do this. I said, oh, okay. I said, well, then don't throw it away. Then someone take it or give it away here because that was not cheap. And they're like, okay. And I just played really dumb. And what I think is likable because I also had a bunch of cookies and other edibles in there that they did not find. So I was like, whatever, take the
I mean,
card.
that it is really hard to track them, especially because they also have like edibles of real products. So they have like the like gummy worms, the little peach rings, Doritos,
Mhm.
Cheetos, all that shit. Like, so I mean, you can't really track that. So
Totally. And I do feel like there's something to be said that if I didn't look the way that I looked, I would have gotten in a lot of trouble. That's
yeah,
white
but it
privilege at
is
its
legal
finest.
there. So at least they stopped you from flying with it. If they wanted to fuck you, they would have waited until you did fly with it and catch you on the way out. But at least, when they said something, there's technically nothing they could have done. Just tell you to throw it away because it is
Mhm.
legal. So, but anyways, if you guys haven't noticed, we're gonna talk about drugs, you guys. Oh yeah, because we just
Oh
had
yeah.
420. It was just the week, and Simon actually performed during 420 at QED Astoria, and it was a great night as well. The crowd was, I don't know if they were high, but they were super awesome. And QED's actually been a night, or not QED, Astoria has a couple of nice dispensaries as well. So if you're out in that way, check them out.
I'm
I
surrounded
won't
by
give out
them. I
names,
live
but if it's
here.
legal, yeah, it's fucking awesome.
And there's trucks too. There's
The,
little trucks. You just go up to the window and they're like, what are you looking for? How you
mhm,
trying to feel? Just good. Just
mhm.
feel good. Remember in
Just
Monster
nice.
Ball when Halle Berry turned to Billy Bob Thornton and she pulled her tits out and she's like, I just want to feel good. Like, okay, well, instead of boning that gross old maid, could have just gone to a weed truck.
Yeah, that's true.
Just saying.
But I mean,
Nice tits, but
when
you should
she
have gone to a
pulls
weed
out her
truck.
boobs, I did feel pretty good during
Yeah,
that moment. So, you know, just saying.
fair.
I think she made the world a better place by
See,
showing those boobies.
I was like, arr, arr.
See that, to be fair, that's a very disproportionate scene for a gay person like yourself and a straight one like myself, because I mean I got Halle Berry's boobies to look at, then you got Billy Bob to look at, so it's kind of like
Bro, I know.
I
Let
don't
me tell
blame
you,
you.
he just might be the luckiest man in Hollywood because he was with Angelina for quite some time and then got to bone Halle Berry on camera. I mean,
And he was with
he was,
Angelina, and in my opinion, during her most like beautiful
oh,
stage
absolutely.
before when
In her
she was
sexual
in like Gone
prime,
in 60
too.
Seconds. Yeah, she was known as like that, like almost, and she reminded me almost of like Catwoman when Michelle Pfeiffer played her. Like she was very sexual but cool. Like I don't know, those were the roles she took
Yeah,
before she
but that
went
wasn't a
like,
good movie.
yeah, it was all right. It was all right. It wasn't as good as Fast and the Furious, like Gone in 60 Seconds, but it was. The thing is, it's one of those movies that fall victim to people hyping it up too much. It's like, oh, this is the coolest movie. You got to watch it, and then you watch it. It's like, it's all
Hmm.
right, you
Hmm.
know. Uh,
I wonder what drugs she
yeah.
does.
Oh man, well she's rich, so probably all the good stuff. And we're gonna talk about drugs, you guys, and we're gonna talk about not just weed, even though 420 is all mostly about weed. We're gonna give you guys a list of. I think this is a comprehensive list of most of like the known drugs.
Well, the ones that
Except
are
pills. 'Cause pills are lame.
safer.
Yeah. And note, some of these might be personal anecdotes, but some of these that we'll get to the second half, or I guess it's the last third of the list. These are the untouchables that we would never do, ever, 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 ever. And we recommend you don't either. You know what I mean? Live your life, do what the fuck you want. But some of these are awful, and some of these are pretty fun drugs. I'm not gonna lie. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we got here. Obviously, we're gonna start out any list about drugs by telling you the following disclaimer: don't be a dumbass. Don't do drugs and drive or operate any machinery or something stupid like that. Fucking like machine knives, anything. Just enjoy them on your goddamn couch or go to your party, do whatever it is. But people think that they can do like whatever they want to on drugs and like, oh, I can drive and do it. Nah, you can't. I used to be that person. And fuck, man. I tried driving after smoking a joint not that long ago.
Were you
And
so
it like
slow?
literally had to pull the car over. I was like, no, this is not safe. This is not cool. I don't know. My like vision started going and feeling weird. So I was like, no, this is not cool. So yeah, don't be an idiot. Take an Uber. We live in the world of Uber. You can fucking take an Uber. So, anyways, we're gonna talk about the first one. We'll start things easy, start things cool. We're gonna talk about
Poppers.
weed. Poppers in the ass. We're gonna talk about weed, baby. I mean, special here because everybody knows weed. We like weed. 420 is about weed. And generally speaking, we talk about feeling. It relaxes you and cools you out a little bit, but really it depends on the type you're smoking. Seema knows as well, whether you're smoking indica or sativa. For example, sativa, you feel a little more of a mental high. Like something I would use during the day if I want to be creative and maybe write some jokes or one of our award-winning scripts. That's something that I would do during that time. If you smoke indica, aka in the couch, that's what you want to use in the nighttime to get the giggles, maybe go to sleep. It's a good time. Now, I remember the first time I saw Simo get high.
Oh, really?
Pretty sure it was, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was some indica because literally like maybe 25 minutes later, you were sitting down on the same chair you had smoked on, like this, passed out with like the smoke, with the bowl like in your mouth.
Oh, really? That happens a lot. And one time I coughed in the bong and I blew all the weed across the room.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
I might have broke the little
that's
like tip.
awful. All that bong water.
And I've been a pretty, I don't want to say a heavy
Ugh.
smoker, but I do dabble quite a bit. And still, even with the bong on Friday, I was like, Carlos, so what do I do? Do I like this and then do I pull it out?
He takes out the thing and there's like ash in it, and it's like, what do I do? I mean, you fucking dump it out. And he looks at me like, huh? Like what?
Because whenever, like my bowl,
So
if it's
you
ash, in it,
empty
I
out
still
the
try to,
ash and you put the new thing.
well, I try to smoke it so I know it's like all gone. So even this ash, I'm like, well, there might be a smidgen back in. I don't want to waste it. You know what I mean?
Oh no.
So Johnson and Wales
Is that why your
University
lungs
did
look like a coal factory? You don't want that.
Yeah. The Johnson and Wales University did a study to see what the benefits of cannabis are. So there's a few. Here's the top seven potential benefits.
Okay.
Now I'm not gonna say like fighting cancer is one. I'm not gonna say it cures cancer. We don't know that. And there's different types of cancer, but generally
Oh,
speaking,
totally.
it helps with fighting cancer. There's a lot of studies and a lot of like
I mean,
trials even being done today on different types of cancer. It helps to prevent seizures if that's a problem that you have. It helps to treat gastrointestinal disorders, and also as far as cancer is concerned, if you experience nausea from chemo, then sometimes the marijuana use can help. It helps to treat some anxiety disorders. It prevents relapse in drug and alcohol addictions. Now, even though there's a lot of 12-step programs that say, like, if you are going to cut everything out, you have to cut everything out. But there's other studies that say, listen, if you are trying to prevent getting back into alcohol and drugs, and sometimes just occasional weed can help fight those cravings. Lastly, it can help reduce inflammation and lower blood pressure. So when people are like, it's really bad for you, it depends on how you look at it. It might be really bad to do before you get behind the wheel, but if you don't feel good, it might be good. Do you smoke
Oh,
when you're
for sure.
hungover? Does it
For
help
sure.
you
And
with the
I've seen
hangover?
the effects of. Oh yeah, for sure it does, man. And like with headaches, I get migraines too every once in a while. It helps with migraines, which is one of the few things it does. It helps with anxiety. It helps me pass out sometimes when I need to sleep and I'm just like wired or I get anxious and I can't. Dude, weed is excellent. Yeah, you just gotta be careful with it. Everything in moderation, baby. It's the way I look at it. Like if you're smoking all day every day, obviously you're gonna be burnt out. But you do have to watch out for the munchies. Is the one thing I will tell you if you're a weed smoker. I think eventually you learn to control them, but I mean, especially it depends on what you're smoking. But every once in a while, man, it's just you get that munchie monster in there where you can just eat whatever the fuck you want. And you just never feel full, you know. It's just like, oh, I'll have chips. Oh, I'll get some pizza. Oh, I'll get a burger. Oh, I'll take a dip in that. And next thing you know, dude, like you just ate everything. And if you do that, you know, a couple of nights a week, your waistline is gonna grow. Believe me, look back at the pandemic
You know,
2020
that's how we all got fat during the pandemic. I
and
put weight on.
college 2006.
College too, but
What's
the
that?
pandemic especially, the pandemic, like everything was shut down. You couldn't go to the bar. I mean, you
There's
can
nothing
you
to
can
do.
go to the liquor store, I guess, but it's no fun to drink at home by yourself. But it is fun to get blasted, to get fucking blazed by yourself and watch Netflix. And I was like, I
Yeah,
must have been Entenmann's number one client.
absolutely.
Like I really just like my favorite thing to do was get home
Yeah.
from work, smoke a lot, and eat chocolate donuts like a total fat ass.
Yeah, hell
And
yeah, dude.
last
And the
year and
gyms
the
were
year
closed,
before,
you know?
yeah, I put on about 30 pounds and I've lost 20. And I like where I am right now. So I'm trying to maintain it. But man, weed, I wasn't being responsible with it. It should take off the edge, or you shouldn't like, I mean, I was doing way too much. I got fucking fat off that shit. But I still had a great time, you know. I
Yeah,
do I
yes,
do
you
remember
gotta
the
see.
first time I got high, and it was with Jack Temple. Remember him?
Well, you probably shouldn't tell people's names because I'm
Oh,
not going to bleep
sorry.
them, and remember we're going on YouTube.
Jack Attack.
So
Uh,
now everybody knows that Jack smokes weed. So thanks for putting it out for him. He'll appreciate that when he listens to this.
I remember smoking quite a bit, and then I was drunk though beforehand, and so you know it's better to smoke before you drink. But if you drink and then you smoke a lot, might make you a little nauseous. The spins, and I got the spins really bad. And I remember I put my head on the floor, and I was like, "Just give me a moment." And then I just kept saying to myself, "I'm not gay. I'm not gay. I'm not gay. I'm not gay." But I didn't know if I was saying it out loud or in my head. So like I feel like whatever insecurity you have, if you're like completely blazed, it might come out your mouth. Be careful. You should be in a good
Um,
environment anytime you do any drugs. You'd be drinking, smoking, popping
fuck, man.
pills, be in a good place.
Yeah, and when you're worried about not being gay,
I'm not gay, I'm not gay, I'm not gay, I'm not gay, I'm not gay. Yeah, keep telling yourself that,
it's
fag.
like sure you are. What? he was saying that while giving him a blowjob. I'm not gay. I'm not gay. Oh shit. So I think
I'm not gay.
I'm not
Can I give a
receiver.
recommendation to our avid stoners? You should keep grapes in the freezer. Because sometimes, like for me, when I'm high, I just want something crunchy. And if you're eating crunchy grapes, I mean, it's not bad for you. But if you're eating
Crunchy
bag
grapes. I
and
don't need
bag
crunchy grapes.
after of like Cheetos one after another, I mean, that's not great for your waistline. But grapes, and then when you eat a lot of grapes, it makes you poop.
Yeah, but
So you wake up in the morning, you have a nice dump. That's a
will the
beautiful thing.
grapes ferment in your stomach if you eat that many? And then you'll, you know,
Maybe.
poison yourself. But
Hmm.
Julie actually got me into this shit called True Fruit, and it's literally it's fruit, different cherries, blueberries, whatever, and it comes covered in dark chocolate and like white chocolate and shit like that. So the combination of the dark chocolate, which is good for you, and the white chocolate, which is better for you than milk chocolate, but it's sweet, it makes it taste like milk chocolate essentially. But it's like chocolate cherries and shit, and you just keep them in the freezer, just like you would your grapes. And you want a little treat, pop a couple of those, and you feel like it honestly tastes exactly to me like when you buy fucking chocolate fruit for someone for Valentine's Day, and it's like these are just something you buy
What's it called
in the fridge
again?
at the supermarket. True fruit.
Everything you're saying sounds like a gay innuendo.
It does sound
Chocolate covered
it,
cherries. Yeah, I heard that before. That's how you get burned.
that was
No
Simo's
parasites for
first
me.
time. And the true fruit. It sounds like a cream puff, a cream
It
pie.
really does. It sounds like a ookie cookie. Well, I got news for you. It's milk chocolate, and the white substance, you can call it whatever you want, but we all know what it is. And it's dripping from your beard
We
right
know what it
now.
is.
You sick fuck.
And on that
It's
note, we're gonna move on to
magnificent!
the next one. But and we're gonna talk about mushrooms. And you're actually with this one, you have to watch out because if you eat too many mushrooms, you might get shit coming out of your ass, like Seema just described.
Oh, really? It makes you
Because you
poop a lot?
basically, uh, yeah, mushrooms. You're basically giving yourself a stomach flu. That's kind of how it works. You eat
Oh,
this shit,
really?
you give yourself kind of like a stomach flu, and then during this stomach flu, you start hallucinating and shit. And I know it sounds worse than what it is, but you basically, if you eat too many, you're gonna end up on the toilet taking a massive shit and like bugging out in the bathroom. But if you eat just the right amount, you feel like a little rumble as you process it, but you start sitting there, and all of a sudden, like maybe like an hour later, a little spot over here will start looking cool, and out of like the corner of your eye, and you'll be like, "What?" And if you look at it, it's gone. But then out of the corner of your eye, you keep seeing shit looks cool, and eventually, that little corner of your eye spot starts growing and growing and growing until it kind of like hits that moment where the best way to describe it is: have you seen The Wizard of Oz? Right,
Oh, yeah.
classic
I saw
one.
Wicked last night.
Uh,
Booyah!
when There you go. When Dorothy ends up walking from her world to to Oz, and everything hits and becomes colorful, it's like
Mhm.
that essentially. Like it's like colors just start grooving. Everything just becomes brighter and cool. For example, like something like this color would look awesome. Just everything looks brighter and cool. Music starts really fucking hitting you in the spot. Especially things that were written to trip on, like Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. Definitely
Mhm.
recommend watching that. Synced up with The Wizard of Oz. You can even download it that way already. Great, great shit. And you kind of like get giggly and you start,
I've had
feeling
trees
like
whisper at me. I swear.
yeah, and things
I'm
things
like,
might speak to
"What?
you. Things you're
Oh,
hallucinating at this point, but
trees are so wise.
things
Pocahontas
might
was
talk
right."
to you. I never had anything like an object or anything talk to me like that per se, but I did eat too many mushrooms once, and
Crapped your pants?
uh, No, I thought that God was talking to me because I like went into a room, went to the bathroom actually to pee, and then I was like looking at these water stains in the tub essentially. And I started focusing on them, and then they basically like started spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning, spinning. And then next thing I know, I felt like I was like in a complete white space, almost like heaven or something, and just like covered in light, white light. And I heard a voice go, Carlos. And I was like, Carlos. You know?
And it's your brother like, get out of the bathroom.
I was like, God? He's like, what are you doing, Carlos? And then the fucking force pushed me. And I literally like reacted physically as to something that pushed me. And I went flying through the bathroom door at my college apartment. And the fucking door was ripped off the hinges. And I woke up to my roommate and my buddy who was tripping with us, like, Carlos, are you okay? They're like slapping me awake, like, Carlos, are you okay? And I was like, dude, God just fucked me up. He was not happy.
Now, is this before or
So,
after you guys tried to light your apartment on fire?
that was more alcohol related, I have to say.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with mushrooms, you're way more relaxed. You're not. At least
No,
in my case,
alcohol is
you're
a
not as
drug
destructive.
too.
But alcohol is definitely a drug. We didn't include it in this list because we're going to talk about the other. But alcohol is definitely a drug, and that's the only one that really makes me violent or smashy. All this stuff like mushrooms, you kind of turn into a 5-year-old essentially, and your imagination is really wild. Everything is great. Everything's funnier. Colors are brighter. You just revert into a kid. You know what I mean? And
I
like
like
I
doing
just
mushrooms by
get so
myself.
giggly.
I like doing
Oh,
mushrooms by
really? I don't
myself and just
necessarily
listening to
like doing that by
music.
myself.
But
Yeah,
I
I
feel
mean, I've
like,
done it, and but I'd rather like hang out with someone and just like geek out and giggle for like 3
but you
hours and
have to be
watch
comfortable
TV
with that
until the
someone.
world's
If you're
up.
in a group and you don't like one person, it's
Oh well,
gonna
yeah,
fuck up your high. You have to make sure it's a
yeah. No,
positive
it's the worst.
space. It's nice to do outside, but just
Mhm.
be wary of doing it by water. you know, so
Yeah,
just make sure it's a safe area. I remember one of my roommates in
for
college
sure.
was tripping on shrooms, and he had all these like fish posters, not like fishy fish, but like the band Fish.
Oh, the bad
And they're like
fish.
this
Yeah,
psychedelic
you
looking
losers.
posters, and he thought it was on fire, and he threw a pot of water on the wall. It's like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Um,
Wow,
but a lot of people
wow.
mix mushrooms with like yogurt, or they'll put it in like a peanut butter sandwich. And then everyone thought I was an idiot, but when I did mushrooms most recently, I put them on a salad. I just put a lot of ranch dressing, and I thought, why not?
Oh,
Like, I always put
that's
mushrooms
not
in a
bad.
salad
I
anyway.
ate them straight up.
Yeah.
But I know they're gross, but I ate them straight up. But in a salad, I don't think it's a bad idea at all.
I
Like
didn't
just put
notice
them in
it, and
there,
I
like
and I
like.
still felt like I had a nice nutritious lunch, you know?
I have also put them in a Philly cheesesteak before, which is I was
Oh,
starving,
that sounds good.
and
I
I was
like
like,
a
oh,
chicken Philly
uh,
cheese with ground
chicken Philly
chicken.
cheese is very underrated, you guys. I'm a big
Yeah.
fan of the chicken cheesesteaks. They're
But I
delicious.
don't love cheese whiz. And I feel like
Oh
I don't know.
no,
I
you
I
gotta
feel like
have
it's
it.
more
You
gourmet if
gotta
you
get a
use
whiz
like
with.
better cheese.
Whiz
I don't
wit,
know.
brother. Well,
I
I
don't
guess if
know.
for a chicken one, I wouldn't necessarily want cheese whiz. I would rather have like some melted something, Swiss, provolone, Munster,
I
anything.
like a
For
chicken
the
cheesesteak
steak and
with
cheese, you
barbecue
gotta have the
sauce.
whiz. See, that's great. That's good. And for that, I wouldn't do whiz with barbecue. Uh yeah, no, but for a steak one, gotta have whiz with.
I don't like
Whiz
cheese
wit,
whiz,
brother. You get
and
that whiz. You get the onions.
I've been with
The
enough Latin
peppers.
men to know all about cheese whiz, and I'm not interested.
That's called jizz whiz. It's different.
I get the word schmegma and magma mixed up all the time, and they're very different.
Yeah, very different things. Things you don't want to get mixed up in your high school science class, you guys.
Exactly.
It will not go well. But if you want to think
Both will
about
ruin your day.
mushrooms and acid, yes. The only difference, really, I feel like with mushrooms, while it kind of gives you the key to unlocking all the weirdness in your brain, acid gives you the key to control it. You know what I mean? You feel like like Keanu Reeves in The Matrix. You know what I mean? He can do what he wants. But here's the thing: it's only in your brain. But
Yeah.
you can fucking like with mushrooms, for example, like everything will be like bouncing around. Like let's say like this wall that's white, or like slightly, the color is like slightly orange. It'll turn super bright. But then on acid, you might be sitting there like, "Ooh, I can move the colors from left to right." You know what I mean? You're more of an analytical trip. I feel like in acid
You know,
versus with mushrooms, I was more like verbal and stuff.
yeah. But I will say that okay, so I think I did acid with nematode. And my friend
Okay.
Charlie at House of Yes. Because I remember Charlie, I was already kind of drunk, but Charlie gave us all like these box tops and told us to chew on them. Did I ever tell you this?
Oh no.
And I was like, okay, whatever. I was hungry. So I chew, he said, just chew on it. I said, okay. And then like after a little while, I feel like the lights, it's just a stupid strobe lights, but I was like, this is the most beautiful light display I think I've ever seen in my life. And then when I went home in the Uber, I was like, your dashboard is fucking amazing, man. And he was like, thanks, dude. I was like, that really is like we just never take time to sit back and talk about like the beauties of the world, like the wonders of the world. And he was like,
Wow.
okay. He's like, it's a Toyota Camry. Like, I know, but it's a beautiful Toyota Camry. This is a really, really beautiful, special experience. I mean, the lights are stunning. I just feel like everything was just so pretty,
Damn. Now I wonder if he
mesmerizing.
gave you acid or Molly. Do you think you
Oh. Well, if you chew on it, I think they put a drop of something on like a box top. Some people put it on paper and you put it on your tongue.
Yeah, no, then it was definitely acid. Yeah, he definitely gave you acid. And acid is great, honestly. The only thing that I gotta warn you guys is you gotta watch out for too much acid because you don't OD on it, but it does like fucking melt your brain. Like I know people who have done way too much acid in their lives and they just were not the same. And there are some physical symptoms that start popping up here. Like with mushrooms, you can overdose. So you have to watch out for that. With acid, you can't, but if you eat enough, you start feeling things according to deserthopetreatment.com. Things
Hmm.
like panic, aggression, suicidal or homicidal ideation, fear of going insane, very common, severe depression, hypertension, rapid heartbeat, sweating, flushing, nausea, loss of appetite, diarrhea, inability to sleep, or drowsiness, which is an oxymoron, dry mouth, tremors, weakness, pins and needle sensations, hyperactive reflexes, or a mild fever, which I feel like mild fever should have been at the top of this list. Sounds like the easiest symptom here than all these other awful things. But yeah, I've only done acid a couple of times in my life. Don't think I probably will again. And nothing against it. It's just, I feel like been there, done that. Great time. Very cool. Things were awesome. You feel like your brain really does change the way it thinks in some ways. But I do feel like if you've never done mushrooms or acid, I would start maybe with mushrooms and do that
Yeah,
first.
soaps.
But I would
But
recommend that you do one or the other at least once in your life. You don't have to do a lot, just a very small amount. It's literally has been proven scientific. They've done scientific tests. Even people who did like a very small amount, they said that it helped improve their lives moving forward forever. It just gives you a slightly different way of thinking. For some reason, I always have like an epiphany when I trip.
you know
I have to be
what
better, I have to be nicer, I have to be a better son, better worker, whatever. For some reason, always
better
happens. So
podcast hosts.
yeah, better
Yeah.
lover.
A better lover to your podcast co-host. So I think whenever I hear LSD, I think like experimentation in like the 60s, right? Didn't the government do a lot of stuff? But I believe that
Yes, the
in
CIA invented LSD actually,
oh
and they
really?
thought that it was going to help them make it as truth serum. And no, it was not truth serum. And they ruined a lot of people's lives. They even got sued eventually for killing this guy by feeding him a bunch of acid, and then he jumped out a window. Um, yeah, it was the CIA. I guess you can thank them. But they also experimented with people like the Unabomber with LSD. So, if you want to actually have a much deeper view of this whole thing, check out the podcast, Last Podcast on the Left. They literally did like a 6 episode series on this. And the name of it is MK Ultra was the name of the secret program. It literally was looking to create mind control, and this was at the time where the Cold War was raging. So they heard that the Russians were doing it, so we're gonna try it too over here.
Oh, the
And literally, you
Russians.
find out how the CIA not only created it but helped distribute it across the country, across college campuses. They might have even given it to people like Charlie Manson to distribute. It's crazy. It's honestly is crazy. And yeah, you find out just how many lives were ruined as a result of it. But those guys are also very funny, so they do it in a nice spin where you'll have a good time. So not that they
Well, I
need any
do
promotion,
know
they're pretty big, but check it out if you want more info.
about a year and a half ago, the FDA cleared LSD based anxiety drugs for clinical trials. So there's a lot of research right now, not so much in mind control, but well, I guess maybe it's a form of mind control. They're trying to help alleviate some mental illness.
Yeah.
So down the line, who knows, that might be available at your local weed dispensary. Because now weed dispensaries are selling some like edibles laced with shrooms.
That's true. Which, to be fair, it's like I don't know if that's even legal. So you gotta watch out for those because I think I would rather trust chocolate shrooms that like my buddy makes than shit that you buy in a store, unless it's like regulated. And no, the dispensaries in New York right now it's the Wild West over here. It's legal, but
Yeah.
those aren't the state regulated ones. So I
Or
don't know
sometimes
until
sometimes you'll buy some edibles, but it's not in like in a sealed package, just like in a Ziploc of some sort. And you're like, this
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
sealed. I like
And
the
some
ones
of
in
those edibles
LA.
are
You have to
also
tear them open.
yeah, and some of those edibles are literally just straight candy that they trick you with nothing in it. So it's like you can get something that's not what it is or nothing at all. So I don't know. I would hold out until the state regulates it, and it will. Eventually, it will. But until then, honestly, your buddy will probably make safer chocolate shrooms where you actually know what's in it.
Hmm.
um, but yes. Anyways, moving on to one that I think that this drug has helped power the finance industry and New York City and the modeling industry. And
Yeah,
let's see what
I
else.
do
And
think Wall
art.
Street Boys when I hear this.
We're going on to
Finance bros.
cocaine and powered the Colombian and part of Venezuela's economies.
Hmm.
Cocaina. Now, how do I describe how you feel in cocaine? I feel like it's kind of like, hey man, do you really like Bitcoin? I like Bitcoin. You got to check out Bitcoin. You want to invest in my Bitcoin, but you really have to do some right now. But wait, let's do some more cocaine. I'll talk to you more about this business strategy I haven't created the next Bitcoin. Oh, that feels really good. Okay, man. Okay, so this is what you're gonna do. You create Bitcoin, right? And then you sell the Bitcoin, and then you buy the Bitcoin back. Then the Bitcoin cocaine. Yes, you get and scene.
I've never done cocaine before.
You just get sped up. Well, to be fair, before you had your nose surgery, I don't know that I would have wanted to share my cocaine with you because I just feel like you might have taken most of it.
Oh, because I had a big Jewish nose.
Hey
That's
guys, I'll do some cocaine with you.
you know, I
Hey guys.
the crowd loved me the other night, but then when I mentioned I was half Jewish, and I said, half of me, I'm half Jewish. You wouldn't know that because I just got a nose job, but it's true. And then some of the girls in the front row
Yeah.
were like,
Yes. No,
yes,
that
it
was good.
is.
That was good. But but yes, I don't think I would have wanted to share cocaine with Simo before.
Because I was gonzo.
But honestly, the thing about it is that everything does get sped up. You do feel like you have like a huge rush of energy. If you ever were in college and you messed around with something like Adderall before, turn that up to an 11 a bit. But the thing is, once you do cocaine, the only thing you can do is more cocaine. Like, because it
Yeah, the
lasts like
effects were all
15
pretty.
minutes.
Yeah, but I also think that
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
like I'm not a cocaine expert. I've never done it before, but I did take. I mean, it was prescribed. I did take Adderall, and to me, cocaine is like an intense version of Adderall almost, in the sense that like a lot of people in
Yeah,
school would
exactly.
steal my
Exactly.
Adderall and crush it up and snort it. Now, I've always wondered that like Adderall for me would relax me so that I could focus. But Adderall for some other people makes it's like taking too much caffeine. It makes them like jittery. It makes them fast paced. It makes them
Yeah.
uh, um, almost irritable. And I had the opposite effect. So sometimes I always wonder, like, I wonder if cocaine or other these drugs would have different effects on different people depending on like their chemical makeup in their brain. Who knows? But I do know
Sure.
that
I
one of
guess
the
depends
reasons.
on what you take. And there's good cocaine and there's bad cocaine. You know what I mean? That's the thing about drugs. There's good drugs, there's bad drugs. I feel like the shit that you get in Hollywood, like the celebs over there take, probably makes you feel like you get your nipples licked by Carmen Electra or something. I don't know. But
Maybe.
it's not the same thing. But the stuff that New York City, for example, we're talking about Wall Street, the stuff that those guys get, that's the shit that keeps a trucker awake for 14 hours straight while they're screaming at each other. Like
Yeah.
when they take shit that's like they need to be sell now. Like so that shit is very strong and gets you hyped, brother.
But not only so, like it's like Wall Street. Most people that work at Wall Street work in finance, specifically in New York, are at a much higher pay scale, so they can afford the good stuff. But also, I think that uh, cocaine does help some people perform like some physical and intellectual tasks more quickly. So I do think that there's like some benefits in their minds of doing coke. Sometimes if you
Oh
drink too
yeah,
much
and they
alcohol
work
and you feel like you're
crazy
like,
hours.
oh, totally. But if you drink too much
Yeah,
alcohol at
yeah,
Sunday brunch and you're like, oh man, I'm gonna have to go home. If someone takes you to the bathroom and you snort some Adderall or some coke, then you're gonna be ready for round two. You know?
God, yeah, but I never hope I have to be one of those people that has to get ready for round two by snorting blow in the bathroom. I will say it is a good time from time to time, but you have to, especially these days, watch out for fentanyl, you guys, because I literally know someone who died of it not that long ago. Their stuff is laced with it. They never made it to the hospital. It's fucking awful. He was a good guy. He should be around today. And literally, they sell them, and I'm pretty sure you even give them out for free in some places. Test strips. Dip your blow in it. See what is in it. Make sure it's clean. And then you can
Even
fucking
if you
have fun.
don't do coke,
But
if you come
yeah,
across a test strip, just hold on to it because one of your friends might need it. Why not? It's
yeah,
like
for sure.
condoms. You
Like
don't
you
have to
literally
use the
could save
condom, give
someone's
it to your
life.
friend.
We,
It's
we're
just like
not. Yeah, we're not an infomercial podcast or anyway, or one of these like super woke trying to save lives. But you really should. If you mess around with shit like cocaine, you gotta get the fentanyl strips. Right now, it's like a fucking epidemic in for fentanyl. Essentially,
I can tell
people
you a
are
dozen
really
people I
putting that
know,
out there
mostly
to cut their shit
performers.
with instead of.
Yep, I can tell you a dozen people that I know
Oh
that have
yeah,
died. Totally. Mostly performers from fentanyl.
wow,
Yeah, it's
that's
crazy.
there you go.
Some people
So
though,
you gotta watch out, dude. And everybody, I feel like everybody I know knows someone at this point that has died from it, which is
mhm.
crazy. So that shows you. And that 5 years ago, I don't know what fentanyl was. So
Yeah,
that says something.
it all comes from Venezuela.
But on that
Auntie
depressing note,
Garcia.
you could yes.
So I
That
do just want to
depressing note.
say,
There are fun times you can be had with cocaine. Let's be safe.
I personally never tried it because I had a heart condition growing up, and I do know that um, in some rare instances, you can have like sudden death with your first use of cocaine or sometimes shortly after, because normally the deaths are often a result of like cardiac arrest or like seizures. So there's like some like crazy effects it can have, some crazy like cardiovascular effects. It can disturb your heart rhythm. It can cause heart attacks, neurological effects like seizures, strokes, comas, gastrointestinal complications. I mean, you name it. There's a lot of really scary things. So like, start small, guys. If you feel like you have to do it, but if you're modeling, don't do it because it's so easy to tell who did, and then they don't get asked back for the next fashion show. There were times I would see people walk down the runway and they would walk so fast, and I'm like, oh my god, they just snorted. We told them not to. They're not going to be asked back. What a shame. Their eye, like their pupils dilated,
Yeah,
their eyes were like bloodshot, and they're like, I don't know. It's just sad to me.
I tried it in college where you go to do things such as cocaine. And I'm not gonna lie, the first time I tried it, very little amount. I just wanted to see what it actually did to me, especially at the time. My only experience with it was like what you see in like movies and TV, which is always exaggerated, and it's like you see a person take a little line and they're like, "What?"
Mhm.
It's not necessarily like that, it's more you want to be more discreet. It's like, oh yeah, that feels good. Boogie boogie. So yeah, I wanted to try it out to see what it actually did to me before I had more. But it's one that I have to say, like, can't do that often because they will kick your ass. The next day you're up late, and the next day you're just exhausted. So if you're a person that gets hungover already, you probably don't want to be messing around with this because the whole next day you're gonna be out. You
Well,
gonna be out?
most people mix cocaine with alcohol, right? So alcohol is a depressant, cocaine is a stimulant. So just having those two opposite effects at the same time can be pretty scary on your heart too, right? I don't recommend it.
And
It's
then you do
too
more
much to
cocaine.
risk with
So
fentanyl.
be
It's
careful.
too much. It's scary.
Yeah, be
Stick with
careful. Don't
shrooms.
forget the
Do all the
strips.
shrooms.
And on to this next one, actually. Actually, before we get to that one, we'll go with ecstasy and Molly.
Who's a big skank.
Really.
Everyone does her. What a whore.
And here's the thing. I for example, the way that Simo was describing his acid experience can be similar in some ways, because when you do mushrooms and acid, you can get a bit of a sensible thing as well, and you can see things very cool. But the way that you feel with ecstasy and Molly, honestly, fucking groovy. Feel
Doesn't it
fun.
make you horny?
You feel like you feel horny. You feel friendly. Everything feels good when you touch it, so that's why it makes sex super great. It makes people super sexual. Kissing feels great. You know what I mean? But it definitely makes you almost like a dumb animal, is my opinion. You just want to fuck or have more
Um,
ecstasy.
it's like poppers, but it lasts longer. Have you done poppers before?
I've never done poppers,
Poppers is
but it
basically when a
does last
drag
a
queen
while.
blows you a kiss from across the room. No, poppers is like it relaxes you, and a lot of guys take it when they're having butt sex, especially on the receiving end, because
Oh,
it's not as painful. It relaxes your
wow.
muscles, specifically your booty, your culo muscles.
Ah, got it. You
Yeah,
see, when I don't necessarily need to relax my booty muscles unless I gotta take a big
because you're a
shit.
champ.
So
Carlos is like,
yeah,
all I need is spit determination. You got
and that's
conditioner in
it.
your bathroom?
And
We can
Uncle
improvise.
Steve. That's all I need.
Uncle Steve and his pencil
But
dick. Anyone can take that.
but yes, I mean, you just I remember this one time again in college. This dude brought Molly because we had in our college in Towson. There's this thing which they might still do it. I just haven't been there in a while. Called Tiger Fest every year, where they would bring this big band. It was like a big concert, but people would drink all day. There's parties all around campus. It was super fun. And anyways, this guy I know brought ecstasy to the party, and literally it was in a little baggie. And at one point, he of course took it himself, and he became super friendly. So he started hanging out, and he was there to really sell it, but then he fucking got high on his own supply, so he started giving it away to everybody, and like a bunch of
Nice.
our friends, and he was literally like throwing them out, almost like a mama bird feeding her baby birds. And everybody was like, "Yes, yes," and he would just drop the e-pill in their mouth, and then he created like little ecstasy monsters essentially.
Really?
But
That's
everybody was having
fun.
such a good time that honestly, if that was like the one positive real experience I had with it. I also did Molly, if I'm gonna confess things, at a Primus concert once, and that was really fun. But here's the thing you gotta watch out for, which always freaks me out. That's why I've only partaken in these drugs like twice in my life. You gotta have water, and if you don't have enough water, you can literally fry your brain and die. So that's why like I only tried it in college really for the most part. And it just kind of scares me too much for that reason. And
I've never
it's a fun
done it.
drug. Yeah, it's fun. You would have a good time. But the thing is, like, when you know that you need to have, for example, at least just for my particular case, when I know that I need to then find water, that makes me like paranoid, and that makes me feel like fuck, I'm gonna die. You know what I mean? Like if I don't find water, I'm gonna fucking die. So then it just doesn't. When you have that feeling in the back of your head when you do any drug, you shouldn't be doing it. You know what I mean? Like it's just, it's gonna
I
ruin a
think
good time.
about that scene. I don't know if it was Bad Boys 1 or Bad Boys 2 when that guy has an overdose on the dance floor and they just pick him up and toss his body out like in an alley. I'm like, oh my God,
Oh
that
yeah,
would be me. Not interested.
yeah, yeah.
I'm such a hornball anyway. I don't need it.
Exactly, dude. So no, not for me. Fun drug again, but I would say when you have to worry about things like that, and also it's very chemical, and that's why you also don't know what exactly it could be. Sometimes it's laced with shit, and literally people die. And I honestly don't know enough about this drug to find a fail-safe way to test for it. So I just stay away from it. Meanwhile, these next two are ones that the first one, I don't really hear about it that often anymore, but it got really big when I was a freshman in college at Towson. I remember it got people like freaking out because I mean I know you can have too much of it, so some people were stupid with it. Of course, I'm talking about salvia, which was this little plant, almost looked like weed. It almost smelled like pine cones,
It's a form of
and
sage.
it's a
So it's
form of
very common
sage.
in like the West Coast, like in Utah, and like it's very common in like Native American culture for like ceremonial things. So it's been around forever and it's really easy to
Exactly.
produce and it's really easy to get.
Exactly.
It's
And
also legal.
it's legal. Exactly. And it was legal in Maryland at the time. I think it ended up becoming illegal later on, but don't quote me on this because but I do remember like that the drug had some backlash. But I remember I went to try it my freshman year of college, went into like the only like wooded area in my college and like sat there with my buddies. And the thing about it is, I didn't really know what to expect. So it was a super weird experience when it happened. So maybe if someone had warned me, I would have enjoyed it better. But essentially, like I took it and then I started feeling like I was going to laugh, like something like I felt like, oh, this feels good, and I was gonna like if I had something really funny and I'm not supposed to laugh, and you just break out laughing. But then the thing was, I couldn't stop laughing. Was the weird thing, and and literally like I kept laughing to the point where like I wanted to stop, and so then I put my head down on my legs on my lap to try to force myself to stop laughing, but I couldn't stop laughing. And all of a sudden, I started like seeing like weird spots in my visions, even though my eyes were closed, and I felt like I was falling down a hole. while laughing, even though I wanted to be screaming. And then all of a sudden, like I snapped out of it, and like I felt like I could almost like catch my breath and stop the laughing. But I felt like hours had gone by, but it was only like 7 minutes. Like it was very quick. You like go off somewhere, you come back. I wish someone would have told me that, because then in the back of my head I would have known, oh, this is gonna be short. You're not, don't bug out. And then, wouldn't have bug out.
So you could just do it every 15 minutes, just take a hit.
Oh, well, here's the thing. I only did it that one time, and then I was so freaked out from the experience that I just remember being exhausted, and I went back to my dorm and like signed back in and just laid down on my bed and just like called it a night. And I was like, nope, didn't go out that night. It was just like that was it. Maybe if I would have known what was going on, maybe I would have tried it again. But nah, it was too much for me.
I'm
Worth
looking at the
trying it just to say I
legality.
did it, but yeah, too much anxiety. That's the thing. I
I'm
think.
looking up the legality in the United States, and it says that in the U.S., salvia is not regulated under the Controlled Substances Act, but some states, and this is Wikipedia, everyone, some states, including Delaware, Illinois, Louisiana, Missouri, Virginia, Tennessee, Texas, and others, have passed their own laws. Several other states have proposed legislation, and that includes Alabama, Alaska, California, Florida, Georgia, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Oregon, and Pennsylvania. But most of these proposals have not made it into law, with motions having failed, stalled, or otherwise died. And I think that is probably because this is a really hard drug to police, because it doesn't have a distinctive odor like marijuana does. It doesn't really look distinctive like marijuana leaves. So I mean, I can't imagine them being successful in, like I said, policing this drug.
And you only like
Grow it
buy
in
a
the
little bit because you
backyard,
only need
smoke
like
it, who
a hit.
cares?
So it's like with weed, like you'll buy like an eighth because you're gonna be smoking all day.
Mhm.
But with this, like you would literally just buy like, get like a little cellophane sack, and then you take a hit, and then you're done. So yeah, it would be tough to find. And if it's something that's made in Native American territory, then how do you can't really police that, because they have their own laws over there.
Well, like also, if you want to grow marijuana in your house, you have to get like high-powered lights, or like black lights. There's like a system, right? Like it has to be very a
Yeah,
very controlled climate and whatnot.
right.
But salvia can be just a generic house plant and no big deal, you know?
Wow, I had no idea. That's
Oh
cool.
yeah.
Wow, so easy. Maybe I'll start
I'm
growing
2%
it.
Native American, so I think I can speak on behalf of my people. Thank you. Me and
Yes, that's
Elizabeth
right.
Warren.
And the 2% that he got, in the 98 white European percent, totally doesn't mean that 2% wasn't obtained by force or anything.
Of course not. Of course not.
It was just totally, a white European fell in love with, Native American. And, Pocahontas is based on CMOs, 2%.
Yeah. Yeah, John Smith was
That's how it happened.
slinging yogurt, and she caught it and she put it in a turkey baster and was like, gotcha
And
now.
then boom, that's how it
Bada
works.
bing, bada boom.
And that's how white privilege was invented.
So I've never
Put
smoked
onto the
salvia, but I'm not
next.
opposed to it. I have smoked mugwort, which is supposed to help enhance prophetic dreams, and it's supposed to, and like historically a lot of like soldiers back in like, I don't know, centuries ago would put it like in their shoes, their armor. I'm talking about like Greek soldiers, you know. It's also grown and used as protection. Some cultures cook with it,
Oh,
but I would mix it with marijuana to help me sleep. And I would have awesome fucking
wow.
dreams. It's like you're high when you're
That sounds
asleep.
cool.
It stinks
It also
though.
sounds like a Harry Potter insult. Mugworth.
Yeah.
You fucking Mugworth. Huh? How could you Mugworth? Kill the
This
Mugworth!
this last one I've never done before. I've been offered, but it scares me.
Oh, yeah. I have done it just the one time, which I went into detail on this very show. a few months ago. So check out the archives for the detailed experience. But we're talking about DMT. And here's the thing about DMT, you produce it naturally when you dream and right before you die. It's produced in your brain. So it essentially, if you ever smoke DMT, it gives you a dreamlike experience that leads into some super strong and potent sites in your brain. Like for me, in my particular case, I drank that I died and was reborn, floating into the cosmos like a naked floating baby Jesus. It was both terrifying and fun. But the thing is, if you've never done it before, like I had, for me, my hit was too much. So maybe I should have done a little bit less because I literally like bugged out. I thought I fucking died and was reborn, you guys. And dying was very scary, but being reborn made you feel at peace. So I don't know. Maybe in some ways that is what happens when you die. I
Do you
have no
smoke it like
idea.
in a joint, or do you put it in a bowl or like a bong?
The way that I did it, I don't know how everybody else does it, but the way that I was shown was in a bong, and it was someone put just a little bit of weed so the DMT powder wouldn't get sucked through,
Was
and then
powder?
put it's like very powdery. It's almost like when you
Do you,
have weed like in your grinder, there's that little keef chamber that
yeah.
builds it up, and the keef is like thinner, so you gotta
Mm-hmm.
put it on top of stuff. It's kind of like that, but more powdery based. So you gotta be careful that it doesn't get sucked through. But yeah, the hit that I got was a massive one because I saw my friend hit it first, whose name I won't reveal in the podcast. So I don't know if he wants me to. And
Sorry, Jack.
I usually had a big similar tolerance to him and things. And he was just like, no, this is what I hit. So I'll take the same size hit. Bad idea. He had already done it before, so he knew what he was getting into. I had no idea. And it freaked me out. So it all lasted maybe 15, 20 minutes. But I literally died. Like I saw my parents screaming my name as like a fucking heart monitor
And then you
beeped
became
away into
our
the
Lord and Savior.
and then I became Hispanic baby Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I
So
don't know a
that's
lot about Jesus, but I
DMT.
know one thing. It's not Venezuelan. That's for damn sure.
The whites will take that he's brown, but never Latino. So concessions that can't be made. So
Well,
those are
I
the drugs that I
definitely
would recommend
learned a
people try.
lot.
Yes. I think those are like the fun, acceptable drugs. You know what I mean? But there are the ones that I haven't tried. I know Simo hasn't tried, and we're gonna warn you very quickly: never to ever do these drugs. The ones like meth, crack, speed, what
Heroin.
else? Heroin. You don't want to do any of those drugs. I don't know much about them other than what I've read and seen on movies. So, for example, meth apparently makes you fucking feel kind of crazy, if you know what I mean, and highly addictive. It gives you a rush. So basically, like you just feel like everything's just soaring through the sky, and all of a sudden you get this crazy high. And the thing about it is, it leads to binging, it leads to tweaking because fucking you have this rush in your heart speeds and everything like that. You eventually crash and you're hungover. And then here's the thing about drugs like that: they say, "Oh, the only thing that you can do to clear the hangover is to have more," and it leads to things like dependency and withdrawal when you decide to cut it off. So it's one of the more addicting ones. You don't want to do that shit. You don't
Yeah,
want to do
I feel
crack
like
either.
if you're trying to like boost your status amongst the popular crowd, like injecting heroin into your veins is not like gonna gain you any sort of brownie points. It's like
Totally.
loser. Do you know what I mean?
Totally. It's just like it's just and like for example, those drugs just sound terrifying. Like for crack sounds terrifying to me. It just
Crack
sounds
is whack.
scary. Yeah,
Crack is
and
whack.
no crack is just crystallized form of cocaine that can be smoked, but cocaine's classy cousin. All right, so if you're gonna stick to that cocaine family, just get cocaine.
Yeah.
And crack only lasts 5 to 10 minutes, similar to cocaine. So it's one that will keep you super dependent. Speed is the only one that sounds kind of cool, mostly because there was that Keanu Reeves movie named Speed, where he was on the bus, and if the bus went under 60
With
miles an
Sandra
hour,
Bullock.
it would blow up. With Sandra Bullock, baby, and Dennis Hopper as well. And
Mhm.
Sandra Bullock was one of my crushes during that movie because she was a cutie patootie. Yes, Speed is cool, but it does what it makes you feel like. But I feel like, while you're like all like jittery and wide awake and excited, I feel like it's like the one where you see people on Speed where like running around naked fighting like 13 cops. You know what I mean? And it's always like those weirdos and their balls are hanging out. It's like, why are they so naked? And it's like, yeah, they
And
get
it's also
superhuman strength, but
PCP and bath salts do that too.
PCP as well. Bath salts. That guy a few years ago ate someone's fucking face. Remember? We fucking found him.
Yeah.
Literally, I think it was in Florida, like mauling some guy and biting his face skin off his face. Ugh.
It's funny
So, yeah,
because
you
when
wanna
Mike
stay away
Tyson
from
did it, it was like cool. But if anyone else does it, like you're a criminal. I mean, be consistent, America.
I mean, I just feel like if you want to do something, you want to be first. You know what I mean? You want to be the trendsetter. Other than that, you're just kind of a copycat. So,
Of course.
if you're not first, you're last. But yeah, you want to stay away from those drugs. Stay away from the meth. Stay away from the crack. Stay away from the speed. Stay away from the PCP, the bath salt. Stay
Stay away from
away.
vagina.
Do
Stay away from
the
clits.
drinks.
Stay away from tatters, especially if they're leaking. Gross.
Oh,
Stay
actually, you
away
just
from
reminded me
fupas.
that at this club that I went to that I was telling you about off air, the Strangers that just opened up in New York City, you guys. There was a lady with fake boobs, and then when she squeezed the boobs, liquor would come out of the nipple. And she was like giving it to strangers.
Oh, so not implants, like a prosthetic that she wore over top.
I'm pretty sure it was I'm sure it was a prosthetic. You know what I mean? Can you imagine? But
I know
it
this guy
looks
that was
so
accused of
real is the
cancer.
thing.
There's this guy that
Oh,
used
yeah?
to take what's it called? You put in your urethra. It's catheter, and would
A
soak up
catheter.
red wine,
Yeah.
and then he would piss it out in people's mouths at this gay bar, this underground gay bar in Chicago. He got a lot of UTIs or urinary tract infections, but he was like, doesn't matter. I get paid thousands of dollars, so I get it. I wouldn't do it, but I understand. Money talks. Yeah. Well, on that note, everyone. I never told you that.
R.I.P. to that guy's urethra.
Yeah.
And my penis for the rest of the day. Ooh, that feels awful.
Gays
On
are
that note, let us
nasty.
know what you
That's
thought
why I love them so
of our
much.
list. Let us know what you thought of our list. The fun side of the drug family and the scary side. Have you tried some of those scary ones that we say not to? Let us know what it was like at Frat Chat Podcast. Maybe Simo will get down to do some meth. but we already lost Jimmy and Timmy before, so I don't need to lose Simo or anybody else. So let us know what you thought of our list on all social channels at Frat Chat Podcast. That's on Instagram. That's on Facebook. That is on Twitter. That is on YouTube. God, you can follow it everywhere. You can also follow us on our social channels. Give me a follow at Carlos Does the World on Facebook, on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram. Carlos Does World on Twitter. Follow my good buddy Simo over there at chris.moore.comedy on the old Instagram and on TikTok, and it's C More Comedy on the old Twitter machine.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna motion to adjourn
So
this
Mr. Mo.
meeting.
And first, before I ever say goodbye, let me rip this in celebration
Happy 420. Happy belated. It's a holiday.
And I second.
Oh, yeah.
So, say good hello to whoever that was, and get us out. We'll see you next week on the greatest podcast in the history of podcasts and time, the Frat Chat Podcast. See ya.
Bye.